Hey guys, welcome to the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. So my name is Extus Justin, and if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Inside the Circle, then definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you within our community. I think we recently surpassed 7,100 members. So if you're not already a part of the community and if you're a coach or consultant, definitely come check us out. Now today, I want to introduce you to one of the members of our community, Maxim. Welcome, Maxim.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm
Thank you
doing
for having me here.
Yeah, I'm doing awesome, and it's a pleasure having you on here. And you're in Hong Kong, right?
Yes,
Yes, that is awesome. Love it,
in
love
Hong Kong, middle of the night almost.
it. Yes, yes. So, Maxim, tell myself and the rest of the community, what is it that you do?
So basically, I'm a wellness and a business coach, and I mainly help. It's kind of my commitment. It's something that I created for myself. I mainly help either stay-at-home moms or parents in general to achieve financial parenting and relationship fulfillment. And I do that either by achieving breakthroughs in what they're dealing with or helping them like starting an online coaching, consulting, or expert business
Mhm.
through their experience, through they know, really like finding their direction, and really for them to be kind of one fulfilled, to have more time that they can control their time. And I generally believe with my process as well that when people go through self-development stage, well, they build a business that impacts their relationship and their parenting. So it's kind of all coming together in a sense.
Yeah, awesome. So, what's your background? What's your backstory? What did you do before you did this type of work?
So I myself was like I started my wellness or personal training business about 2 years ago as a full-time thing. And before that, I was logistics manager for 5 years. Really, I I really hated, like you can say, hated my job. I didn't like the environment I'm working with. I didn't really, like I worked with people that weren't very empowering. So I always kind of was depressed, and it's really impacted both my health. It's impacted my relationship. I was always kind of upset, angry. Um, always tired, and I always have the passion for like from fitness and wellness. So I started doing personal training while I'm working full time in a normal job. And like you can imagine, it was a bit challenging because I kind of had two classes in the morning, went to my full time job, came back, and then had classes in the evening. Um, so at some point I said, okay, we need to kind of stop that, and I just jumped in, started doing it full time. And through the whole process, I was always in like self-development programs. I always been like, I read a lot. I do a lot of seminars, a lot of courses. Um, and when I started doing my wellness consultation with my clients, I kind of realized that a lot of them are first of all women. Um, it's kind of naturally I started working with that, and I realized that many of the problems are um, they're more, they kind of concerned with their weight loss or with their weight, but then there's a lot of things going on in the family, like either they're not working and they're financially dependent, or their relationship with their kids not working, or there is something going on in the personal relationship. And then when I start my business coaching, I start look at how I can integrate all of that to kind of bring everything under one roof in a sense. um, so last year I started adding that as my online service, which basically I can work with people all over the world because it's not fitness, and I don't really enjoy doing online fitness.
Hmm.
so so
Got
I
you.
so I took that and really integrating everything I know from my coaching programs, for everything I learned from what I experienced myself. And um, I'm proud to say that I become very, very effective in my communication with people, and the ability of really making a difference in even one call. And I'm just kind of challenging myself now. I kind of put myself in the challenge that I take in 10 people, and I promise to achieve a breakthrough within 60 minutes in one of their kind of areas that they feel uncomfortable with or challenged with.
Hmm. Okay, awesome. So what would you say a couple of, I guess based on everything you've kind of learned and figured out over the years, can you condense it down into maybe say a couple of principles? What would those principles be?
What do you mean?
Principles like, like core factors, right? So with what you've mastered, right? So as far as helping individuals, whether it's personal development, all these different pieces, are there
Mhm.
any themes you see as far as what you teach, your process, your method, that they're just core
Yeah.
things?
So,
What do you think?
yes. So first, first there's a lot of well, usually uh, people don't tend to have very deep conversations those days. Like the conversation are usually very superficial. The complaints are always the same complaints, um, and there is always kind of fear of being discovered, right? So kind of that people gonna get to the real stuff, so they never go there. But the real change or the real transformation happens when you actually go to that areas. But in order to get in these areas, you really need to get full trust of the person you're speaking with. So I think one of the core things that happens in like almost every conversation is a lot of um, you know a lot of confidence, like self-confidence. People really don't know who they are in a sense, because they were so impacted by the environment, so they kind of lost their confidence. That's one big underlying going on. And I think the second thing is like it's self-doubt. So I think it's kind of correlated with this with confidence. And the third thing is clarity. Like people just many times just they kind of going through life, but they don't have any clarity about which direction they want to go with. So they just go with whatever comes, and it makes them many times reactive instead of being proactive. And it's very and then when you're reactive all the time, what happens is you tend to complain a lot, right? And you're getting to this point of things are not going the way you want them, so you kind of become upset, or you become angry, or you just say, okay, yeah, leave it like that, let it be. And that's exactly what how you not achieve happiness or fulfillment. So that's something I'm kind of working on transform with every person I'm kind of working with.
Hmm. Okay, awesome, awesome. And what's one skill you'd say you really practiced that's helped you get to the point where you are in your life and your business today?
Well, I think it's really first of all is being authentic, and it's being direct.
Hmm.
It took me a while. And it took me a lot of self work as well, because you first need to get direct, like honest and direct with yourself before you go do the same thing with other people. So I think and it all comes down to like a very very clear communication, and like identifying when um, like when there is a smoke screen in a sense, because a lot of conversation you have smoke screens. You just need to understand how you see through that and kind of make your ways either in a nice way or not a nice way, but really get to the core of the problem that you're trying to deal with.
Hmm. Okay, good. And you said one of the other things you mentioned, you said when most individuals have conversations, it's typically like a superficial type of conversation, right?
Well, yeah, like you can look at like when you meet friends, right? They usually will not share with you um, things that going on in the relationship. You can ask them how do you do or how you doing. They're gonna say, "Oh, I'm fine," right? Or like, you know, it's like when I speak with people from a wellness perspective, then I ask them, do you actually have a friend that supports your weight loss journey? Like if you're trying to lose weight, right? Is there a friend that comes to you and tells you, hey, you shouldn't eat that because it's healthy for you, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
though they know that you shouldn't. And that's the big challenge, right? Even your best friends, they kind of 90% of the time, and 90%, 95% of the time, they will not be like really honest with you, because if they're afraid they're gonna say something, how you're gonna react, so they just don't say it, even if it's in your best interest, right? And it's kind of it's kind of messed up.
Hmm. Yeah. And do you find it's that way for the majority of people as well, as far as the clients you work with, or just average?
Well, it's definitely majority of the people. It's very rare to find like a really like a person that you can like it's that's a friend, and sometimes it's even a family member that especially in families, right? When like your spouse or your girlfriend, whatever, she tells you something in order to kind of point out something that you should change or something that doesn't work, you might take it as an insult, or that you're being challenged, or your ego comes up and you say, hey, I'm not like this, I'm like that, right? And that's why many times I'm in different Facebook groups, like with dads and moms and everything, and you read so much things about like, oh, my wife that did this, that, and then they just get divorced. um, and I know how tough it is, because I was almost on the brink of that myself. Now, it didn't happen in the end, but I just had the feeling that nothing is working for me. But then I read people, oh, she did this and that. How can I deal with that? And just, people just throwing the relationship like that without even looking like what they did, like self-reflection. It's a bit strange.
Hmm. Yeah, and self-reflection is one of those really powerful and interesting things as well too, right? Because it's almost like it's easy for us to look at the other person, blame the other person, say, "Oh, you did this or you did that," versus looking at ourselves and saying, "I wonder what's in me or what in me that's causing that," right?
Well, absolutely, yes. And not only that, but the ability to look at that without any emotion attached to it.
Hmm.
Because it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? You can do that, but then you can start judging yourself. You can say, oh, I'm such a bad person, and I'm this and I'm that. And then you're just making things worse. You kind of, everybody hitting your head, and you're kind of hitting yourself on the head as well.
Hmm.
So it's really need to be kind of, okay, look, you're coming from a perspective of how to make things work, instead of I'm gonna start judging or blaming, and it doesn't matter if it's the other person or yourself, because in
Hmm.
both cases it's not effective.
Yeah. Okay, good. What about with you and where you are? What's that vision that you're building towards at the moment?
So, well, I'm working currently in very small visions. Initially, my initial goal is to help 100 families to achieve this fulfillment that I really want. Want them to be happy as a family. Want them to have this income that they want. If they want to build an online business, that's something I can help them to start. So that's gonna take, that's gonna be their source of income. Um, so my vision is just, to spread this positivity for kind of family unity, I call it. It's kind of a commitment that happened to me about 2 years ago.
Hmm.
And I started realizing it about a year ago, and then just everything started aligning with that.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. How did you end up in Hong Kong, man?
Um, Wow, so that's actually an interesting story, because like I moved here 12 years ago from Israel.
Hmm.
Um, and at the same point I was working in a bank, and I was living with my parents. I think I was 22, 20, 21, 22.
Hmm.
So I was living with my parents, and then, I was working in the bank. I was making enough money. Well, I didn't make much, but I didn't have much expenses as well. Um, but I look into that, and I was sitting with my friend, and I said, listen, if it's gonna continue like this, I will never be able to go out of my parents' house. And it was kind of an environment of, um, back then I already felt that I will not be able to grow if I'll not do something very, very extreme in a sense. So then I went and done something extreme. I just said, I was looking for jobs that are away from Israel. I say, I need to go somewhere to live by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at skincare because Israeli companies are very famous for that. Like, you're in UK, right?
No, no, I'm in the US.
US. So like all the skincare brands, like a lot of Israeli salespeople go around the world and just sell stuff. So I tried to apply for that. It didn't work for me very well.
Uh-huh.
So then in the end, I found myself doing security for the Israeli airline. So it was kind of aligned with whatever I need. So they flew me to Hong Kong, and then I just worked here.
Mm-hmm.
And then just things, you always come and you say, a lot of people that come to Hong Kong, they say, I'm going to stay for 2-3 years and then I'm going to move back. And then after 12 years and 2 kids, you already understand that it's
Yes,
not 2 years.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool stuff, man. And I guess the question becomes in essence so tell us again, who's the ideal person for you that would really benefit from your services?
So it's a little bit diverse. So initially when I started looking at kind of my niche, I was focusing on stay-at-home moms or mothers that are really research topic. And as a parent, I know how hard it is because in Hong Kong things work a bit differently. In Hong Kong, you have helpers because there is there is no structure where you can put your kid for a whole day. So it's not like parent you drop your kids in daycare or school and then you go to work and then you pick them up. It doesn't work like this in Hong Kong. Hong Kong people are working 10 to 12 hours. They mostly don't see their kids. But even with that, I realized that there's still parents here that they stay at home, they lose themselves, they kind of have this loss of identity, they identify themselves as a stay-at-home parent, right? And then they don't have any purpose, and they get depressed, they get overweight, they get many it's impact every area. And it doesn't matter what is your a religion, because like Hong Kong is very diverse with people with ethnic background. um, some people just more comfortable speaking about it, some are less, but the problems are still the same. So that's kind of, I focused on stay-at-home moms, but it's also relevant to parents in general. So I spoke with men as well, and it's the same effect. The process is kind of the same. It just really depends. And as well as people that are working in jobs that they really kind of believe that that's the only thing that they can do just because they learn it at school, or that's what they were doing in the past X years, and they just don't see anything else other than that. But they're unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of doing that out of a default and not a choice.
Yeah, yeah. And your clients, the clients you work with, are they local to you, or are they overseas? Are they all over? What's the who do you
All
work
over. I don't have like I had a client in Pakistan. I had a client, I spoke with people in the UK, in the US, in Australia. So it doesn't really make any geographical, the geography doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
The problems were the same all the place. People are
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Got you. Now, if someone wanted to connect with you, what's the best way for them to be able to reach out?
So they can go to my website. It's called livewithsmile.com. And they can find me on my page. It's Live with Smile Coaching, or they can find me on my personal profile. It's Maxim Minin. It's Maxim and then Minin on Facebook. I'm mainly active on Facebook and Instagram. I don't use the rest of the platforms much. But I think the website actually covers both my one-on-one coaching, and then I have a course that is, I created a course which is basically fundamentals of how somebody starts from scratch. If they want to start an online business, really simple, go through the fundamentals of them starting from scratch to having a service that they are comfortably can sell. And the reason why I created this course in the beginning is because I've done many courses myself. So some of them, and all of them are great. They have a lot of information. The biggest challenge with them is they're too complicated. they either too long or they have too much things. And then when a person just starting from something, yes, it's great information for them, but they either get overwhelmed or they get like information. Then, you know, somebody who starts now, how to run a Facebook ads is not something that's very relevant to them, or how to run YouTube ads. So I kind of took, and I spoke with many people before I created it, what exactly they need to go through in order to kind of go from scratch to having a service and actually be able to sell it, understand the sales process in about 2 to 3 months. Now it takes that amount of time just because you need to kind of, again, work on yourself a little bit, understand the whole process, understand the whole structure. And if you're new to online in general, it might be a little bit scary, a little bit different. And, you know, there's always overflow of information. And that's what creates the overwhelm. So I kind of make it very, very simple. And again, there is a masterclass on my website that actually explains the whole process. And then I can offer to people who work with them and actually help them and support them until they have a clear path, clear offer, or even have their first sale. So basically my commitments for anybody who I work with, that they actually see the results happening, not just, you know, I give them information and then good luck and go try to apply it or something like that. So yeah, so all of that is on the website, livewithsmile.com.
Yeah, awesome. And guys, if you're watching this interview on the live or the replay, number one, leave us a comment below, let us know that you're there. And secondly, all the links Maxim just shared to be connected with him, they will be either right above or below this video. So you can click and get connected right to him. So Maxim, hey man, thank you so much for the time to be here today and to share with us and myself and the community what it is that you do. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
Well, the final thought is basically, I think I'll summarize it by really working for personal fulfillment. I see too many people that, you know, they're chasing the 6 figures or 7 figures. And then on the other hand, I speak with people that I kind of, they're either depressed or there are a lot of things going on in their personal life. So I'm really invite people to look at what's going to make them happy and what's going to make them fulfilled, and start working towards that. And if they're not sure how to do that, because most of the people don't know, that's exactly where a coach come in handy, especially when kind of either he went through the process, or he can really understand what you're going through and kind of steer you out of your situation. Because, you know, like Tony Robbins says that ultimate success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure, right? So that's basically, like, if you're not happy with what you do, it doesn't matter how much money you're gonna make, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're not happy, you're not fulfilled, then it doesn't really matter.
Right. Okay, awesome. Love it, man. Love it. Well, again, thanks so much for sharing, and we'll talk soon, okay?